with New Jersey. New Jersey was started in 1664 when two noble proprietors, these are private individuals, families, groups of individuals, two owners, two noble proprietors. Come on, there we go. They received the area from the Duke of York. New York must have previously had very nebulous boundaries because remember, for years, the area of Vermont would be fought over between New Hampshire and New York. And now here you've got the the Jersey area being owned by the Duke of York, and he gives it to two noble proprietors. A substantial number of New Englanders, including many whose weary soil had petered out on them, flocked now down to the new colony. So we had talked about the lousy soil in New England and how you would have to let the land lay fallow, grow different crops, and so life is rough if you are into agriculture. So they began to peter down into the New Jersey area. And if you're from New Jersey, people who live there don't call it New Jersey. They call it Jersey. Yeah, no new, Jersey. So we had East and West Jersey, two separate proprietors. One of the proprietors sold West Jersey in 1674 to a group of Quakers. So here, before William Penn's colony is founded, you have one of the Jerseys being sold to the Quakers. And here, Philip, I don't even want to try and pronounce that last name, one of the proprietors at the colony of New Jersey in 1665. He arrives to be governor. And one part is sold West New Jersey in 1674 to Quakers. Here they set up a sanctuary. East New Jersey was also acquired in later years by the Quakers. So both East and West Jersey are owned by the Quakers now. Their wings, though, were clipped in 1702 when the colony was combined into just one and named a royal colony. So it went from proprietorship into a royal colony. And here, the first Quaker meeting house in Burlington, New Jersey, built in 1683. And the colony was founded in 1664. At the time of the Revolution, money was made by the colonies, money was made by cities, all manner of institutions made money. But we were still under the British system of money, so this was 12 shillings. To counterfeit is death. Burlington in New Jersey, printed by J. Collins, 1776, the year of the Revolutionary War. And that is Burlington, the same place here as the first Quaker meeting house. So, royal colony as a conclusion. And New Jersey, it's oftentimes referred to nowadays as the Garden State, even on their license plate. New Jersey's nickname of the Garden State is derived from its rich agricultural history. The state has long been a leading producer of fruits and vegetables, and it is still one of the country's top growers of blueberries, cranberries, and tomatoes. You don't think of Jersey way out there on the East Coast as a big agricultural state. The nickname was first officially used on the state's license plates in 1954. And their state quarter, Crossroads of the Revolution, and the famous painting scene of George Washington crossing the Delaware in the dead of winter. And you can see the ice chunks even in the water. Yes. And the Delaware River is one of the boundaries for the Jersey. So the crossing of the Delaware, yes, I'm not sure exactly where along here that exactly happened, but I think it's down here in the southern portion. And we move on to the colony of Delaware. In 1630s, Fort Christina was a little trading Swedish community. Fort Christina, today, present, where the Swedes came. The region was called New Sweden, but they had a very small area and a small population, never over 400 people. The Swedes, though, were an infringement on the Dutch claims up in New Amsterdam. So in 1655, the Dutch under Peter Stuyvesant, we covered this earlier with New Netherlands, New Amsterdam, they seize it and take New Sweden under their control. Delaware consisted only of 3 counties. 1, 2, 3. Harboring some Quakers and closely associated with Penn's flourishing colony, in 1682 it was given to William Penn. So not only does he have Pennsylvania, but now he has Delaware. Delaware is very important to Pennsylvania as a possession. Why is Delaware so important? Well, in looking at Pennsylvania, yes, it's on the boundary of the Delaware River with Jersey, but they have no access to the sea. They are completely landlocked. To continue through this area of the Delaware River, they have to have Delaware or Jersey's permission. They are out of Pennsylvania's territory. As a landlocked colony, you have to have a seaport enabled in order to do trade with Europe and the rest of the world. So, owning Delaware, Pennsylvania now has this long coastline that they can use for trade. In 1682, it was given to William Penn. Delaware was granted its own assembly in 1703, but until the American Revolution, it remained under the governor of Pennsylvania. So, we've said, is Maine part of the original 13 colonies? No, it was a possession of Massachusetts. Is Delaware one of the original 13 colonies? Yes. Even though up to the American Revolution, it was a possession of Pennsylvania, it is still its own colony, but under the governor of Pennsylvania. And I mentioned to you earlier about the first state Delaware was very proud of the fact that when the Constitution was proposed, they were the first ones to sign on the dotted line and say, we agree to the new Constitution and the new government of the United States that we have created. They were at the time the very smallest state in population. They were 13 out of the 13 in population, but the first to sign, and so they have forever claimed to be the first state. And there we go, the first state. So when the state quarters were struck, what they did is they went through the first 13 to sign on for the new Constitution, and then went 14 based upon, I think that was New Hampshire, and thereafter as to how they joined the Union, with Alaska and Hawaii being 49 and 50. So they are the first state. And on their quarter, they have this statue of a man on a galloping horse and the name Caesar Rodney. Who is Caesar Rodney? Well, Caesar Rodney is a very important individual. He was a founding father, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and an American hero. But most have probably not heard of Caesar Rodney. One reason may be because of his face. Rodney suffered from a facial deformity, likely caused by a cancer, that he obscured his face with a green scarf or handkerchief. This could explain why there are very few portraits of Rodney, contributing to his lack of notoriety. But here is a famous carving, Caesar Rodney arriving at Independence Hall, Philadelphia, and greeted by the other delegate from Delaware. And the famous statue of him, which is on the coin. He is famous for a midnight ride, not Paul Revere's, but Caesar Rodney's midnight ride. His ride ended up at the doorsteps of Independence Hall, where he cast the decisive Delaware colony's vote for independence from England. The colonies were having vote, shall we declare independence, shall we remain English colonies? And he made the decisive vote for his colony of Delaware. 2 delegates were already there. One voted yes, one voted no. Caesar Rodney shows up and votes yes. He rode through a thunderstorm. He covered 80 miles and arrived at Independence Hall just in time to have his ballot cast. In June 2020, though, during widespread protests over racial injustice, Rodney's famous statue was removed and placed in storage. The reason being, he had been an owner of 200 slaves. And so to this day yet, Caesar Rodney is on the coin. The coin wasn't put into storage until 2020, and the state coin for Delaware came out in 1999. So if you go to Delaware and are hoping to see the statue, you will not see it. It is in storage. And Maryland. Maryland was a proprietary colony and the 4th English colony to be planted. So first is Jamestown, 1607. Second is Plymouth. So here we got Jamestown. Then we've got Plymouth, 1620. Massachusetts Bay, 1629. And Maryland, the 4th colony, 4th English colony, 1634. And she is a proprietary colony. It was founded by Lord Baltimore of the Calvert family, a prominent English Catholic family. Lord Calvert had been given the land grant in 1629, and his son, Lord Baltimore, would found the colony in 1634. He embarked upon this venture partly to reap financial profits. They are a wealthy English family, and partly to create a refuge for Catholics. This is like William Penn, who will come a bit later. He wanted to have a refuge for Quakers. He wanted to reap financial profits. But remember, he had a third goal of wanting to play around with them. Democratic rule in Pennsylvania. The Calverts do not have any interest in democracy. They kept it to financial profits and a refuge for Catholics. And the first printed copy of the Maryland Charter. Protestant England was still persecuting Roman Catholics. Maryland was named after Queen Mary, who is oftentimes referred to in history as Bloody Mary, because she was known for persecuting the Protestants. As I've mentioned before, this time period is not tolerant. Whoever's in power persecutes the other side. And here, famous picture during her reign, the burning of Master John Rogers, vicar of St. Sepulchre's, St. Paul's in London. So yes, he is burned at the stake for being a Protestant. And his quote-unquote dying words, "Lord, receive my spirit." So Maryland, named after Queen Mary. Fertile Maryland was the first enduring proprietorship in the New World. Baltimore's colony prospered almost from the start. It benefited richly from the experience and help of neighboring Virginia, whose climate and soil were similar. So people coming here know there's no gold to pick up. We're coming to farm. They follow on the same example as Virginia, and they soon begin growing tobacco. Profitable, lush acres were put under the plow. The back-straining labor was performed mainly by black slaves and white indentured servants. Lord Baltimore permitted unusual freedom of worship at the outset. He hoped that he would purchase toleration for his own fellow worshipers, but unfortunately, a heavy influx of Protestants from Virginia moved up into Maryland, and they threatened to submerge the Catholics and place severe restrictions on them. Appealing to the king, the Catholics of Maryland threw their support behind the famed Act of Toleration, which was passed in 1649 by the local representative assembly. Maryland's new religious statute guaranteed toleration to all Christians, but it decreed the death penalty for those like Jews and atheists who denied the divinity of Jesus. The law did extend the temporary cloak of protection to the uneasy Catholic minority. One result is that when the colonial era ended, Maryland probably sheltered more Roman Catholics than any other English-speaking colony in the New World. And this includes British colonies in South America, Central America, the Caribbean, and North America. More Catholics in Maryland than any other English-speaking colony. In the late 1600s, the Calvert family had resistance and rebellions. William Penn fought with his constituents. Same here. But in spite of this, the family was able to maintain control until the Revolutionary War. So the only proprietary colony of the 13 original colonies. that is still a proprietary colony in the hands of the original owners is Maryland. Made it all the way to the Declaration of Independence, being a proprietary colony. And the official seal of the colony of Maryland. I love it. No, this actually, they have many different pictures of the seal, and this one is sort of stylized, but you have the Calvert family crest here. I'm not sure who these two are supposed to represent, if this is fishing along their coastline and this is a farmer and he's got a shovel for digging, but yes, the Calvert family. And Lord Baltimore, Maryland, obviously. Maryland is called the Old Line State to honor the heroic fighting of a Maryland regiment or line in the American Revolution. George Washington was an early source of reference to the Old Line that protected his retreat from the Battle of Long Island. The Old Line developed into the Old Line State, becoming the nickname of Maryland. I got that written a little bit awkwardly there. After all the members of the Old Line had died, the phrase "the Old Line" remained to honor their memory. Yes, the Old Line State, Maryland. And it does not say currently anymore Old Line State on their license plate, but this, see this here? Where have we seen this before? Ha 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 ha! The crest of the Calvert family is in the bottom of the Maryland license plate. And the next is the Carolinas. We will pick that up on Wednesday.